Hello YouTube and welcome to another one of my videos featuring vintage radios and stuff like that. Yeah, for example, today we have here a 1970s clock radio, and it's a German brand. It's made by SABA, and I had this for a couple of years, and when I got it, it was still working. I mean, of course, the clock was still working, but now, as you can see here, well, this is supposed to be moving. And, well, the clock is there, the radio still works, so you can turn it on.
Einem anstrengenden Konzert nach anstrengenden Proben sprechen die Musiker nicht etwa über die Musik, sondern meistens über...
Well, it even sounds good for such a tiny radio. Even has a medium wave. Let's see if we can get something here. Well, there's still some live.
That'll be one of our themes next week. We're doing a live blind date update this week.
Oh. Sounds like some UK stations are still on there. Okay. Well, and as you already noticed, it's still the same time. So earlier this day, I managed to resurrect a similar clock radio. It's an Universum, so it's not as good when it comes to quality as this one. And well, these clockworks are driven by a small rotary motor. And, well, I managed to fix the other one, so it was stuck as well. And I, well, tried to clean it up and, well, used some Ballistol. This stuff is really good. So it's, well, some people say WD-40 is the best. I use this as well. But, well, in this case, I used this kind of special oil, and well, it did not do anything. Then I tried using a hot fan. I tried to heat it up, the motor, and this really worked on the other clock radio. So the old sticky grease somehow finally came out this thing, and the new oil went in, and now it's, well, moving. And well, I plugged it in. It's still running. I disconnected it several times to see if the motor can start under its own power. And, well, even this is probably by now still working. So it's now in my sleeping room. And I will test it if the clock is accurate, and if it's okay, then I will sell it probably on eBay. But I thought, okay, if I could fix the other one, maybe I can fix this one too. So just let's open it up and see what's inside. Well, all right, it's open, and as you can see, here is the motor. That's the problem, because it's still not moving. So at least the light, the clock light, is still on. So there should be a light bulb for the FM part as well. But, well, it's probably broken, and I don't really want to take this all apart just to fix a broken light. So it's probably will, well, be left like this. And Another problem. So on the universal clock I mentioned earlier, the motor was on the back of the clockwork, so you could access it easily and just remove those two nuts and then just get it out of the case. Well, but that's different here. So if I want to take this out, I probably will have to disassemble the whole thing, and well, that's another thing I don't really like to do, because I'm a, quick and dirty bastard. Oh yeah, I don't do 100% correct repairs, because, well, that's an old clock radio. It's probably worth some money if it's working, but, well, I don't care. If it's not working, then I will just leave it in my sleeping room the way it was the last few years. But now, let's try something. Just as an example. I don't know if it will work. So, on the other radio, the motor started moving when I heated it up a little bit, because, well, it's always the same. It's always about sticky and old grease or oil that's, become too hard, so the mechanic parts won't move as they should. And, it's just for the kicks, just let's heat it up and see what's happened, or what will happen. Nothing. Okay. Just have to be careful so it won't be too hot. But, well, that's something different. On the other clock, oh yeah, oh, this one is really, oh, it's hard to move. So, okay, that's something different here. Maybe there is a bearing that's just, broken, because this won't move at all. Okay, that's sad. So, I think this is the end of this video. Let's try it one more time. Okay. Nothing. Oh! It's probably the other way around. Okay, so let's see if I have something that won't scratch the... You see, it's trying to move. Oh, it's hard to see it on the camera. It's moving slowly. So I would say it's not a success, but it's at least I'm probably not wrong with my theory of the old and sticky grease. But well, still I would have to disassemble it to get it out and clean it and put fresh grease or oil to it. And, well, I don't know if I'm willing to do this, but right now I will just try to, well, spray it a little on certain areas, and of course there are some gears in there, and they should be cleaned as well. So I'm not sure if this is any use. Okay. Well, I will leave it like this for a couple of minutes, and we will see if it starts moving a little bit faster, because right now that's way too slow. Oh well, sometimes quick and dirty isn't just enough, so I really had to take this whole thing apart and to remove this little motor. By the way, it's the same one as on the Universum clock radio. It says Kopal, Japan. Probably all those clocks well, are from Japan somehow. And it's, well, this should really move easily, especially now it's out of the clockwork, but it's somehow a little bit stuck. And now I can try to do this the same I did on the other one. I just try to heat it up so the old grease comes loose, and then try to oil it a little bit, because I can't really take this thing apart anymore or any further. This would be probably the end of it. So, well, just give it a try and we will see what will happen next. Okay, I heated it up once more and sprayed some oil in, so probably it will somehow get in there. And now let's see what happens when we plug it in. Oh well, still not still not the way it should be, but at least it's moving. Okay, and if you give it just a little spin, well, then it runs. But the problem is now, when I just unplug it again, then it will stop. And it's not ideal to have a clock that has to be opened each time you plug it in, just to give it a kick. But well, maybe I can just let it run for a while and let's see what it will do when I unplug it. Okay. Now it will come to life under its own power. But it's probably because it's still hot. I'm curious to see what will happen when it's cold again. So, of course, maybe there's something, there's some more parts to be fixed. Maybe there is a bearing in there that's, well, worn, and that's the reason why it moves a little bit too hard, or is too hard to move. And I will just let it run for a while, and I will try to put it back together, and we will see if it will still work when it's cold again. So for the moment, that's looking okay, but I don't think this will be too long. So the question is, are those little motors, are they still available? Because, well, I have 2 clocks with the same motor in there. So maybe they are all the same, at least when they come, well, when they are Japanese made. I will have to look this up on the internet, maybe. There would be a way to replace it. Okay, guys, this is what I came up with when I, well, did some research on the internet. So, first, there are no replacing clockwork motors available because these are from the 1970s, and although I think if someone would still sell them, he could make quite some money because there are a lot of collectors of those flip clocks, and those motors are literally all the same. Maybe the gears are different, but the motors themselves, they are all the same. And second, what I learned, there is no use oiling those motors because apart from this rotor, there is nothing in there that's moving. What we can see here through these holes, that's just the part of the core and a coil that's in there. And of course, there in the middle, there's the rotor and which just with an axle that goes through this. And I don't know how to get it out. Probably I would have to remove the gears so I can just take the rotor, this rotor out. And some people say all it needs is some cleaning, but I don't see any dirt in there. Maybe, of course, if there is a part that might need a little bit of oil, then of course it's the axle here, the shaft itself. But if I can't get it out, I can't oil it. Well, that's what I came up with. And so far, I just, well, heated it up a little bit more. And now, you see, well, it will start under its own power. So, although I did everything wrong, right now it's running and spinning. So I will just let cool it down because now it's really hot. And I'll try again if it will still start. And if it does, then of course I did the wrong thing, but somehow it worked. Because, well, not everyone has those tiny hands to take this thing apart. Yeah. So, we will see. I just unplug it. One more try. Whee! Yeah, there it goes. Okay. I will just let it sit here and cool it. And let it cool down, and then I will just give it another try. And in the meantime, I will show you my other clock radio, which is hopefully by now still working because I left it running before I started work on this one. So, well, come on, let's take a look. Well, I have to use the flashlight because it's a little bit dark in there. By now it's still working, and well, it still shows the correct time, but we will see what it will do the next morning. So I just will leave it here, and well, this is a nice one as well. Of course, the color, well, I don't like this brown fake wood stuff, but well, it's well, the radio works, the reception is good, it even has a socket for an external antenna, so that's something special. And I don't think you can hear it on the video. The motor does make some noise. I'm not sure if it's just the normal sound, so listen closely. I'm not sure. So, well, you see, I did the same thing here. Spray, well, some kind of spray cleaned it with this special oil. So that's not standard, that's some kind of weapon oil. So it will not get sticky. And just sprayed it and cleaned it. And then, well, heated it up a little bit. And after it cooled down the whole day, in the evening, I just plugged it in. And it came right on. And this one was really, well, it was dead. Okay. Well, another minute. We will see how this will turn out. And so in a couple of hours I will go back to the other clock radio and we will see what will happen, and of course I will check on this one again tomorrow if the clock is still running correctly. Okay, back to our clock radio, and well, this is kind of a long jump cut because, like I already well said in the last part of the video, it took me some disassembly to get to the motor and to some other parts of this clock. And, well, it was lots of fiddling around and not really knowing what to do to get it, well, fixed. So, as I said, I found a YouTube video, a quite good video, that showed some kind of a teardown of this motor, just to show that there is no need to oil it and there should normally be no oil in it. But, well, I already sprayed it with this Ballistol special gun oil, and I heated it, as well, I showed you earlier. And this did not really, well, it did not really work quite out. An update on the on my other clock radio, the Universum I showed you. It's still running. The clock is accurate, so not bad. Okay. I don't know what happens if you unplug it for a longer time, but I unplugged it a couple of times and plugged it in again, and it was, well, started running. And that's the same I did here. So I had a motor out. I heated it several times with the fan and or with the hair dryer. Okay. And when I plugged it in, well, it barely started moving, and then, well, it got to its normal speed. As I tried this today, of course, nothing happened. Well, it was only if you just, well, spun it a little, it will, well, it would start moving. But then I just let it run for several hours, and then I plugged it or unplugged it again and just left it alone. And then I noticed, okay, every time I plugged it in, it was running again. And this is something that this clock definitely did not do earlier. It was definitely broken. So not a part-time runner. It was, well, it's been sitting for years now. And from time to time I try to plug it in, especially in the summertime when it's warmer in my bedroom. But nothing. So now, after several tests, I reassembled everything. I even changed the small light bulb that was in there, because, well, I won't take it apart and once more if it's not really in need to. This was the broken light bulb, okay, and I had two of These came from an old stereo system. One was broken, the other one still good. So now, just let's plug it in and we will see what will happen. Yeah, focus. Clock is moving. That's a good thing. Under its own power and even with the gears, well, back in the clockwork. So I was afraid maybe the clockwork itself is some kind of, well, stuck, or the grease is too old and sticky. But well, now let's set it to the current time. It runs smoothly, okay. That's not too hard to turn. Of course, especially now with one hand. Okay, so now it's already late at night. This has been some kind of night shift. Okay, now it's yeah, it's really late. Okay, now let's see. But it still looks good, okay. And so of course I can put the top back on. And then I will show you the beautiful FM, AM, or the radio scale back in its full glory. So I better need, well, I better use both hands, so another jump cut. So everything is back together, and once again I will plug it in. So the focus won't. It will not focus. Okay, so let's try it this way. You see, clock is still running. And now, look at that. Oh, we have some light here. That looks good. So, of course, I don't want any copyrighted content here. Oh, radio's working. Oh yeah. The reception is really good.
Aber es war alles sehr, sehr laut. Da musste ich mich erst dran gewöhnen.
Let's try, of course, the PC is on. Turn it off. Maybe this will make... Oh no, not much better. We have something on AM.
When your career finishes, or if your career comes to an abrupt end, or you just turn out not to be good enough.
Well, back then, when even a clock radio had a good tuner.
Money back as a free bet. Excited scores against Chelsea. Available on all. Correct score, what the goal scorer market. Honey Power. Home of them.
Sure, it can still work, just about.
Oh, well, these are quite some stations for me being in Germany, where we have no AM stations at all. They are all gone. So before I close this video, I want to show you something special, because this is missing on most of those clock radios. So this radio has a little flap here on the back, and when you open it up, there is, well, not really an earphone. This is something you could hide or put under your pillow, for example, and then listen to the radio without disturbing maybe your wife or anyone else in the same room. And this is really something special, because it's still here and it looks like it's really has had not much use. So turn it on again. Turn up the volume. Still working. That's a great little gimmick. And well, I'll put it in later. To sum this up, I did everything wrong while repairing this. So I oiled this motor because I thought it would need some oil, but I learned those are normally, well, bone dry. But somehow I got it working. So we will see how long this will run before it will be stuck again, or it will burn down the house. I don't know. So this will go back into my bedroom and replace the Universum clock radio that's right now in there. By the way, this I will put this the other clock radio up for sale, because I like this one better, because I have my furniture in the bedroom is all white. It's from the 1970s, and this is of course perfect, a perfect match. So this is why I really wanted to get this back working. So that's it. And if anything gets broken again here, I will let you know. I will post an update video. But for the moment, thanks for watching. And, well, see you soon. Goodbye.